Today's research has provided us with insights that enable us to do much more than simply create beautiful lighting. Luckily, we already know how light can support us, for example in terms of creativity or concentration. I recently visited a workshop and found out how wonderfully it actually works. You won't believe what I was fortunate enough to experience there. Together with the 7 other workshop participants, I enter an inviting space, all in white, approximately 5 to 5 meters in size, with a centrally located, large and round skylight. We are told that it was a testing room. We are curious. We take our seat at a round table located directly under the skylight. I'm analyzing the pleasant lighting atmosphere in the space. The skylight is behind a round ceiling cutout, and you can't even gauge how big the skylight really is, let alone how far back it is. This play with visual conventions is fascinating, since it's beyond what I experience on a daily basis. I can only get an idea of the daylight outside, given the screen in front of it. But it's very pleasant to sit under this friendly brightness. As we are all sitting there and as our workshop leader enters, it becomes darker and darker and the space around us continues to fade. At the same time, light is emitted from a round, delicate, circular pendant luminaire that hangs above the table. The luminaire creates a brilliant and severe cone of light in the center of the tabletop and provides a marvelous blaze of color for the flowers there. The focal point in the center of our group transforms the conversations among the participants into an almost reverent silence. The workshop leader welcomes us and introduces himself. While doing so, he takes a small soft ball in his hand, which seems to be linked to the circular luminaire by means of some technology, since the light is now becoming more intense on his side of the room. I am fascinated. The effect is amazing, for I have the feeling that because of the light I can better concentrate on him. During the round of introductions, the ball travels back and forth across the tabletop, as each person can decide who is up next. The light's focus moves in the direction of the person with the ball until we've all introduced ourselves. Afterwards, our coach explains how we'll approach today's subject. He speaks of a procedure named after the so-called Walt Disney strategy, a creative approach accredited to the inventor of Mickey Mouse. Walt Disney had the habit of letting all projects go through 3 phases. In doing so, he and his team changed the space with each new stage. Our coach let us know that we too would get to know a different space at each stage, while at the same time not leaving the one we're in. Here I have a large question mark hovering above my head. As we begin the first stage, we are told to slip into the roles of the dreamer and of the nutcase. We were instructed to collect ideas and be creative. The guiding principle in this stage is think without limits. I am astonished as the walls around me suddenly seem to dissolve, and I am left with only the sight of blue skies and clouds, as if I were looking out of an airplane. There is sheer vastness and openness, 360 degrees around and above me. I am excited and at the same time feel lighter than ever before. The walls appear to be surface membranes that are backlit by a stream of video. As a result, the view of the clouds is quite subtle and inexact, yet I still sense the continuous dynamism of the cloudscape. It takes a while before the excitement among the participants settles, but then the atmosphere inspires us tremendously, and we develop collective ideas that would normally only occur in a dream. After a break, we move on to the second round. Here we take the view of the realist and the pragmatist. Now we discuss the question of how ideas and visions are implemented. Our headline is "What is used is good." As we tackle this topic, semi-opaque translucent windows flap in front of the horizon, and we find ourselves in a bare interior, flooded with white light. The light has a cool, fresh hue and emits a brilliant quality of color rendition. Emotionally, there's nothing left, nothing that would distract me from thinking clearly. Even the ceiling takes on a neutral white color, though the surface indiscernibly loses some brightness with each circa 10-minute cycle, only to switch back to its original brightness. I notice how this interval keeps clearing my head and helps me not to dissipate into a thought loop. It seems it's not just happening to me either, because in this environment it's easy for all of us to remain in an objective, productive state and to develop an effective plan for the implementation of our ideas. In the last phase, we finally play the critic and ask ourselves whether the ideas are really feasible. Now we should examine and be skeptical. I am already excited about what the space does well and grin as wood-paneled wall elements flap in front of most of the windows, as if the shutters were closing. The ambience is an earthy brown now. Shining in from the outside, the light is rather sparse and almost provocatively monochromatic. The conservative wood panels remind me of a historic courtroom. The skylight imitates a dome with its geometric pattern, appropriate to its environment. It is astonishing how the change around affects us, since in this atmosphere we could truly play the role of the critic and authentically feel at home. Only then could we develop the results from our session with concentration. After we had each walked through the stages twice, 6 hours had gone by, and I could hardly believe how quickly the time had passed. I have seldom had the feeling of having been so productive. Unlike Walt Disney, we did not have 3 spaces at our disposal to rotate through, yet we still changed the atmosphere around us. The change not only supported us in the individual sections, but also helped the group to sync up with each other. Now, you all want to finally know where this room is? Well, maybe it is only in my imagination. But wouldn't it be wonderful if there were such a thing? Maybe I have constructed this story because I think that the story would help to make such a space a reality more quickly. And as the case may be, with this wish I may not be alone in this world.